Hey everyone, welcome back to Sami J Reads, and this week's book review is on one of my favorite series of all time. No, it is not the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks. This week's series is a little bit different, and it's going to show a bit of my nerdy side. This week's book review is going to be on a manga series, and that manga series is by Oh Great, and it is Air Gear. Air Gear follows the story of 13-year-old Itsuki Minami, which I apologize if I butchered the name. I've tried very hard to try and get it. Itsuki Minami. Itsuki? So I'm just gonna go with Ikki from like the rest of the review. For a while now, Itsuki has been basically a hotshot of his school. He is pretty much the main reason as to why his school, along with his side of the town, have territory. He's basically a punk ass. This year starts off as usual. He beats the West Side gang and declares the area as East Side territory for the year. However, trouble ensues when the West Side finds a group of Stormriders known as Skull Staters, and they come and sort of kick Ikki's ass, which really sucks, you know? We basically have a synopsis of the musical West Side Story with, you know, like the two groups that come together and they fight, except there's no snapping. In order for Ikki to regain his reputation, regain the territory, and basically get back his friends, he needs to learn this sort of art of Air Trecks. Air Trecks are basically the coolest invention I've ever heard of. All you really need to know about Air Trecks is that they're basically a high-tech rollerblade. For the adrenaline junkie, it is like the dream blade of all time. You can soar high into the sky, you can end up doing a bunch of cool new tricks. They allow you to fly in the sky, that you're free from the ground, you're free from gravity, even though it does exist. You have freedom. Part of me is just like, I want these to exist. I would totally be willing to go break a wrist to learn how to ride these things. Now, I love the characters in this first volume of Air Gear. It's a great small mix to get introduced to and sort of get brought into the series with, and we have every character from the ones that we hate to the ones that we love. They're shy, they're funny, they're loving, they're weird. The main characters we're introduced to in this first volume are Ikki himself, and then these four sisters known as the Noyamano sisters that Ikki basically lives with. The oldest of the sisters is Rika. She's 22 years old, and since about the age of 12 she's been raising the entire family. She's incredibly responsible, she's very efficient, and you don't want to piss her off. She will beat you up. There's one scene in which she gets mad at Ikki and he is then put over a fire to roast. But she's still a pretty cool sister in the end. She's very protective of the other three sisters and Ikki himself. And that's something that you should see in an older sister. I'm an older sister and I'm extremely protective of my little sister. Then there's Mikan, who is 17 years old. She's still in high school. And she's basically the hard-ass of all of the four sisters. The majority of the time, if she's not watching wrestling or fighting on TV, she's beating up on Ikki for one reason or another, and she absolutely loves ramen. And then there's the third sister, Ringo, who she's actually my favorite sister out of all four of them. She is 14 years old, so she's a year older than Ikki, and they're basically brother and sister. Ringo is incredibly shy. You don't really see much from her. She maintains a rather nerdy persona with her glasses and her hair in ponytails, and I'm not saying that because I really like her and I don't dress up like her, because I'm totally not like those people. Yeah. But at the same time, she does have a rough side to herself. You end up seeing that she will go out of her way to protect what she loves, and she will sort of forget some of her morals in order to protect what she loves depending on the situation. And then we have the youngest of all the four sisters, Ume, who's 10 years old in 4th grade, and she's creepy. Yeah, she's creepy. The Noyamano family is rather dysfunctional, making every single dysfunctional family look very normal. Now, I love how this series starts off. We see the two different sides of Ikki. We have the hotshot. He's got the nickname Babyface because he's got some good looks. He's still in middle school, so he hasn't really grown into himself. That's sort of the name Babyface. He's the star of the school. He maintains the territory. He's got a group of guys that follow after him. He's basically like a god. Yet then when he gets home, the entire persona disappears. We end up having a submissive Ikki who's almost like a dog. They refer to him as a dog at times because they will sort of eat food while he sits off to the side, like looking at them starvingly, and they give him scraps. And They will punish him and call him bad dog. All this stuff that is completely different from what we see when he's outside at school. So everything starts to pick up when things start to get crazy with territories. It turns out that the West Side guys decide to enlist the help of Stormriders. And Stormriders are a group of people who ride Air Trecks. They're sort of almost like a gang. And so they come over and they start to take territory, and Ikki comes along and he's sort of like instigates a fight. You know, he's going to battle them and win. Typical Ikki. But he doesn't. He loses. He is pretty much beaten down to the ground. He is humiliated. He's made fun of. And he loses all his dignity. I really enjoyed this entire sort of downfall of his. That in this first volume, we see him go from the highest of the high down to the lowest of the low. And we know that he's going to make it out, and that's going to really show in his attitude throughout the series. Ikki gets his mojo back with the introduction of Air Trecks. He'd never been on them before. He's seen commercials, he's watched people on them, and he gets basically introduced to the entire world of Air Trecks, also known as Stormriding. And it allows us to see just that basic beginning, that he's almost like a little kid learning how to walk. Like, he can't even ride in these things, but he gets a basic understanding of how they work. With the Air Trecks, he's able to face off with this new foe of his, to reclaim his dignity, reclaim his territory, reclaim his reputation that he lost in that one fight that he picked. Although his foe has been on Air Trecks longer than he has, and he's just a newbie, he shows how you don't have to be on them for so long to win this battle. There's a specific type of battle they have. Instead of using a common thought that somebody would have thought of how to win this battle, we end up seeing that Ikki thinks differently. He does not sort of see the entire Air Trek world in a box. He's outside of the box, he's looking at it differently, and this is going to make him different from everyone else that you end up meeting in the series. He will basically be breaking ground and will be making a name for himself and taking the entire Air Trek world by surprise. After this final battle that he has, Ikki reclaims his reputation, as should be expected. He gets his friends back and he gets his own dignity back, and he's got this new adventure to look forward to. He no longer has gravity that's holding him on the ground. He can now go up into the air, and the air will make for a great atmosphere in the future volumes, in which we are not constrained to the ground, we're not constrained by gravity. We can do a lot more up in the air, in the sky, versus on the ground having to rely on the gravity around us. Overall, I absolutely love this entire series. I love the humorous interactions we have. I love the content, although sexual, but it is still very funny. Guys, you will enjoy it. Guys will love it. Let's admit it. How many of you guys out there sort of drool over girls who are visually attractive? Girls, it'll depend on who you are. I myself, I'm a girl and I love it. We also have all the action that's taking place, and it gives us that new atmosphere with the air. We don't have very much of it in this first volume, but we are introduced to a lot more of it in the later volumes. If you don't read manga, I would still recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I will let you know that the manga is printed in a traditional form, so your spine is on the other side. So what's technically the back cover in a Western book is going to be the front cover of a manga, and you'll end up reading right to left. It's easy to adjust, and I love it. It's very relaxing on the eyes. Probably the only people I wouldn't recommend this book to is anyone who's not mature, and I'm going to go with what they recommend is 16 and over. I know those of you out there who are going to say, oh well, I'm mature and I'm not at least 16 years of age. Don't lie to yourself. So that's it on Sami J Reads with Oh Great's Air Gear. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's a very quick and easy read. Manga, graphic novels are easy to read, you guys. I can read things like that in less than an hour. And if you can read faster than that, good for you, but yeah, no, it's no competition. If you want to see some more book reviews, be sure to hit the subscribe button up above, and I'll be posting videos every Thursday. If you have any books that you want me to read and review, go ahead and put them down below in the comment section, and I will look into those. Also, if you have read Air Gear and you love it or you hate it, comment down below. I want to read what you thought about it. I want to hear it. You can make a video response. So that's it on Sami J Reads. I will see you guys on the other side of the book. Bye. I'm making a fun at first.